Hi dear students, in today's class we will discuss Act 2, Scene 9. The scene shifts to Portia's house at Belmont where Prince of Aragon made his choice of the casket. Earlier we had seen the last scene. It took place in one of the streets in Venice, and this scene it takes place in Portia's house at Belmont. And here Prince of Aragon makes his choice of the casket. The second suitor who is willing to try his leg, the Prince of Aragon. The first suitor, it was Prince of Morocco, and the second one, it is Prince of Aragon, and he is there to make his choice of the casket. And he selects the silver casket which contains an idiot's head. So just like Prince of Morocco, here Prince of Aragon, he also selects one casket, and Prince of Aragon, he selects the silver casket, and inside the silver casket one idiot's head is there. Instead of the picture of Portia, what Aragon gets here, he gets idiot's head. And silver stands for conceit, vanity and self-deception. All the three traits of Aragon's personality. So from here we can understand the personality of Prince of Aragon. And the metal silver stands for conceit. Conceit means large opinion about oneself, telling or saying something more about oneself. That is the conceit, large opinion about oneself. And the second one, it is vanity. Vanity means too much pride in oneself or about the appearance or about the achievements. And the third one, self-deception. Self-deception means misleading. The three traits or three qualities of silver, the metal silver, are conceit, vanity and self-deception. And these three traits are the very personality of Aragon. And what is the personality of Aragon? We can find from here conceit, then vanity and self-deception. Portia is quite relieved as Aragon departs. So Portia is very happy when Prince of Aragon departs. She is then informed of the arrival of a Venetian suitor. In the same scene itself we can find the arrival of the third suitor from Venice. And then Nerissa prays that the new suitor should be Bassanio. Thus ends the second act with the anticipation of the fulfillment of the lottery of the casket. So with this scene 9, the act 2 ends. And here one new suitor is there, the third one, and Nerissa expects that it is Bassanio. Now we will discuss the scene in detail. Scene 9. Belmont, a room in Portia's house. Enter Nerissa with a servant. So the scene takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. Then Nerissa and one of the servants enters into the scene. Nerissa says to the servant, Quick, I pray thee, draw the curtain straight. The Prince of Aragon hath taken his oath and comes to his election presently. Draw the curtain here means open the curtain. Straight means at once. So Nerissa says to the servant that, Quick, hurry up, I request you to open the curtain at once. Because the Prince of Aragon hath taken his oath. Now Prince of Aragon has taken his oath and he comes to make his choice. And comes to his election presently means he comes to make his choice right now. So you have to open the curtains at once. Then flourish of cornets enter the Prince of Aragon, Portia and their train. So then after this, Prince of Aragon, Portia and their trains or servants enter. Then Portia says to Prince of Aragon, Behold, there stand the caskets, noble prince, if you choose that where I am contained. Straight shall our nuptial rites be solemnized, but if you fail without more speech, my lord, you must be gone from hence immediately. So here Portia says to Prince of Aragon that, Look, these are the casket, noble prince. If you choose the right casket which has my picture, then what will be the reward or what will be the result? Our wedding will be solemnized. Our nuptial rites means marriage ceremony. If you selects the casket which contains my picture, then our marriage ceremony will be solemnized. Solemnized means performed. Then, but if you fail, my lord, you must leave the place immediately without any further talk. So if he selects the right casket, what will be the result? Then Prince of Aragon can marry Portia. But if he fails in his attempt or he fails to select the right casket, then what will be the result? Then he has to leave the place immediately. Then in reply to that, Prince of Aragon says, I am enjoined by oath to observe three things. First, never to unfold anyone which casket that I was chose. Next, if I fail of the right casket, never in my life to woo a maid in way of marriage. Lastly, if I do fail in fortune of my choice, immediately leave you and be gone. I am enjoined by oath to observe three things. I am enjoined means I am bound by oath to observe three things. He is supposed to obey three things and he has taken one oath here. And all the suitors should make that oath. And three things they should bound to obey. And which all are the three things all the suitors bound to obey? First one. First, never to unfold to anyone which casket it was I chose. And the meaning is that first I am not supposed to tell to anyone which casket I chose. After the selection of the casket, the suitor he is not supposed to tell any others about the casket that he has selected, and he has to keep it as confidential. He is not supposed to share to anyone which casket he has selected, and that is the first condition. And the second one, if I fail of the right casket, never in my life to woo a maid in way of marriage. So the second condition is that if I fail to choose the right casket, then never for the rest of my life propose to marry any lady. So to woo means propose, and a maid means a virgin girl or a lady. So the second condition is that the suitor who makes the selection or the selection of the wrong casket, he cannot marry any girl in future. The first condition is that don't share to anyone which casket he has selected, and the second one, he is not supposed to marry any woman later in his life. And the third one, if I do fail in fortune of my choice, immediately to leave you and be gone. And fail of means fail in the choice. If I fail in the choice or the fortune of my choice, then the third condition is that immediately to leave the place. The suitor has to leave the place immediately and be gone. He has to go from the place. I hope that the three conditions are very clear to you. The first one, what is that? The person is not supposed to tell anyone about the casket which he has selected. And the second one, he is not supposed to marry a lady in his life later. And the last one, if he fails, then he has to leave the place immediately. Then Portia says to Aragon, to these injunctions everyone doth swear that comes to hazard for my worthless self. Then Portia says to Aragon, this is not only for you, these conditions are for all the suitors, those who come to seek me in marriage. So earlier we had seen in Act 1, Scene 2, we had seen many suitors, but they did not try their luck. Why? Because of the strange conditions. These are the three conditions. So by seeing or by hearing the three conditions, they left the place immediately, and they were not ready to keep these three conditions. That is why they left the place. So Portia now says to Prince of Aragon, all the suitors, those who are trying or those who are willing to select the casket, they have to obey these three conditions. So to these injunctions everyone doth swear that comes to hazard for my worthless self. Every suitor who comes here to make the choice to win my worthless self, taken an oath, abide by these conditions. So all the suitors, those who come to marry Portia or those who come to try their luck, they have to take this oath which includes these three conditions. So here Portia says that worthless self. Why Portia says worthless self? In a way, Portia considering herself as a worthless person. That is why she says that all the suitors, those who come to marry me or try their luck, they have to undergo these three conditions and they have to obey these three conditions. So I hope that it is clear to you, and in the next class we will discuss the rest of the scene. Thank you. Have a nice day.